Max growled low in his throat, his hackles raised. Lisa stood frozen in the doorway, guilt written all over her face. My stomach twisted. I could still see them, her body tangled with his, the way she clutched the sheets. "You broke us," I said. Lisa's face crumpled. I already knew, there was no going back. I used to believe that if something was wrong in a marriage, you'd feel it instantly, like a shift in the air before a storm. But the truth is, it creeps up slowly, like a draft slipping through an unseen crack. At first, it's nothing. A misplaced phone, a late night at work, a distracted smile. You tell yourself it's normal. That people change. That love evolves. But in reality, some changes aren't evolution. They're decay. Lisa and I had been married for 7 years. Not perfect, but good. We had routines, inside jokes, shared playlists. She knew how I liked my coffee. I knew which side of the bed she had to sleep on. We had Max, our German shepherd, who had been with us since the first year of marriage. Lisa always joked that I loved Max more than her, but it wasn't true. Not at first. The first sign was subtle. Lisa started spending more time on her phone, angling the screen away when I walked by. At dinner, she'd smile at something, type quickly, then act like nothing happened. When I asked, she'd brush it off. "Oh, just work stuff," she'd say, setting her phone down as if to prove a point. But then it would vibrate, and she'd snatch it up like it was life or death. Then came the changes in our sex life. It wasn't just less frequent, it felt disconnected. Like she was there, but not really. When I kissed her, she kissed back, but there was a hollowness to it. No hunger, no urgency. Some nights she'd turn away, claiming she was tired. Other nights she'd initiate, but it felt rehearsed, like she was checking a box. And then there was Max. Max had always been protective, but never aggressive, until Tyler started coming around. Tyler was an old friend of Lisa's from college. At least, that's how she introduced him. He showed up one night for drinks, laughing too loudly, touching Lisa's arm too often. Max growled the moment he stepped inside. "Whoa, buddy," Tyler chuckled, stepping back. "Didn't realize I needed an invitation." Lisa laughed it off. "He's just not used to new people." That was a lie. Max had met plenty of new people before. He had never reacted like that. I had to hold his collar the entire time Tyler was over, keeping him from lunging. The hair on his back stood on end, his ears pinned, his teeth slightly bared. He wasn't just cautious. He was warning me. But I didn't listen. Over the next few weeks, Tyler became a regular guest. Lisa claimed they were working on a project together, some charity event she was helping him with. Each time he visited, Max would react the same way, tense, growling, never taking his eyes off him. Lisa started locking him outside when Tyler came over. "It's embarrassing," she said. "He's acting crazy. Maybe because he senses something," I muttered one night. Lisa rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. He's a dog, not a detective." That night, as Lisa and Tyler laughed in the kitchen over a bottle of wine, I sat on the back porch with Max. He rested his head on my lap, letting out a low, frustrated whine. "I hear you, buddy," I murmured, scratching behind his ears. "Something's off." I started paying closer attention. Lisa's work hours got longer. She'd come home smelling like men's cologne that wasn't mine. She started wearing lingerie to sleep, but turned away when I reached for her. I told myself I was overthinking it, letting suspicion eat at me. But Max wouldn't let it go. One night, I walked into the living room and found him pawing at Lisa's bag, whining. "Hey! Get out of there!" Lisa snapped, yanking it away. Max barked, something primal in his tone. I had never heard him sound like that. "What's in the bag?" I asked. Lisa clutched it to her chest. "Just my work stuff." "Then why are you acting so weird?" She hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. "You know what?" she snapped. "I don't need this. I'm already stressed enough without you acting like some paranoid boyfriend." She stormed upstairs. But Max didn't stop growling, not until I followed her, leaving that nagging feeling behind. The final straw came a week later. Lisa had gone out with the girls, but something wasn't sitting right with me. I had checked her location on my phone, something I had never done before, and saw she wasn't at the restaurant she said she'd be. She was across town, in a residential neighborhood I didn't recognize. I sat on the couch, gripping my phone, heart pounding. Max sat at my feet, watching me, ears perked. I looked at him. He looked at me. Then I made my decision. I grabbed his leash, stood up, and said the words that changed everything. "Let's go find her." Max sat in the passenger seat, ears perked, eyes fixed on the road ahead as if he knew exactly where we were going. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. Lisa had lied. I knew it now, and I needed to see it for myself. Her location showed an address in a quiet residential neighborhood, no restaurants, no bars, no friends she'd ever mentioned. Just a single house on a dark street. I parked a few houses away, heart hammering in my chest. The house was modest, the porch light casting a dim glow. I killed the engine, sat there for a moment, breathing in the thick, suffocating air of realization. Max let out a low whine, shifting restlessly. "Yeah," I muttered. "I know, buddy." Lisa's car was parked outside. She hadn't even bothered to cover her tracks. That stung more than anything. If she was going to cheat, she could have at least pretended to be careful. But no. She was comfortable. Confident. That meant this wasn't the first time. I got out slowly, Max following close behind. His body was tense, muscles coiled like a spring. Then I saw it. Through the living room window, Lisa. Sitting on a couch. Not alone. Tyler. His arm draped over her shoulder, their faces close. Laughing at something. She leaned in, lips brushing his neck, her fingers trailing over his chest. I felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath me. My stomach twisted violently, and for a moment I thought I might actually throw up right there on the sidewalk. The woman I had spent the last 7 years of my life with was curled up with another man, touching him in a way she hadn't touched me in months. I should have stormed in. I should have kicked the door down, dragged her out by her lies, made her look me in the eyes and explain. But I didn't. I just stood there. Watching. Frozen. Max didn't freeze. He growled deep, guttural, furious. His fur bristled, teeth bared. He wanted to attack. He knew. I placed a hand on his back, steadying him. My vision blurred, red-hot rage threatening to take over. But I needed proof. Pulling out my phone, I hit record. Hands shaking, I zoomed in through the window, catching every touch, every whisper, every sickening, intimate moment. Then she kissed him. That was it. I turned and walked back to my car, Max trotting beside me, still growling under his breath. I couldn't do this. Not now. Not when my entire world had just shattered. The drive home was a blur. My thoughts spun wildly between fury and devastation. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to break something. But I did none of that. I parked, walked inside, and sat on the couch in the dark, staring at nothing. Max sat at my feet, head on my lap. He didn't make a sound. He just knew. I checked my phone. Lisa's location was still at Tyler's place. She wasn't even trying to hide it. Minutes passed. Hours. Then, finally, the front door clicked open. Lisa walked in, humming softly, tossing her purse on the counter. She didn't even realize I was there at first. Then she saw me. "Oh, hey," she said, pausing. "Why are you sitting in the dark?" I didn't answer. Just watched her. She hesitated, then smiled, moving toward me. "Babe? You okay?" Max growled. She stopped. "Seriously, what's with the dog lately? He's been acting weird." I exhaled slowly. My hands were fists in my lap. "Where were you?" Lisa blinked. "I told you. Drinks with the girls." I almost laughed. The audacity. "Which restaurant?" I asked. She hesitated. Just for a second. Bella Vita. I leaned forward. You sure? She frowned. Yes. Why are you interrogating me? I pulled out my phone, opened the video, and hit play. Lisa's face paled instantly. The footage was shaky, but clear, her in Tyler's arms, laughing, touching, kissing. I watched her watch herself. The color drained from her cheeks, and for the first time, I saw it, the panic. The oh shit I'm caught moment. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. I can explain. I laughed. Actually laughed. Can you? Lisa reached for me, but Max barked, a sharp, warning sound. She yanked her hand back. Babe, please. It's not what it looks like. I stood up slowly, towering over her. Then what is it, Lisa? Because it looks like my wife is fucking another man. Tears welled in her eyes. It was just a mistake. I clenched my jaw. How long? Silence. Lisa. My voice was low, dangerous. How long? She swallowed hard. A few months. Something inside me snapped. Months. Months. While I was home, loving her, trusting her, making excuses for her distance, she was giving herself to someone else. I stepped back, shaking my head. Get out. Lisa's eyes widened. Wait, no. Get out. She burst into tears. We can talk about this. Max barked again, louder, stepping in front of me like a shield. Lisa flinched. I pointed to the door. Go to him. That's what you want, right? Go. She hesitated, then grabbed her purse, sobbing as she stumbled out the door. As soon as it clicked shut behind her, I exhaled sharply, every ounce of strength leaving my body. I collapsed onto the couch, rubbing my face. Max jumped up beside me, pressing against my side. I wrapped my arms around him, burying my face in his fur. And for the first time in years, I let myself break. The morning after Lisa left felt eerily silent. The house, once filled with her presence, was now nothing more than walls and echoes. Max lay beside me on the couch, his head resting on my lap, his steady breathing the only sound in the room. I hadn't slept. Not really. Every time I closed my eyes I saw her, laughing, touching, kissing him. Then her voice, the pathetic excuse she had the nerve to whisper. It was just a mistake. A mistake doesn't last for months. A mistake doesn't involve sneaking around, lying to my face, treating me like an idiot while she played house with another man. I checked my phone. No messages from her. No missed calls. I wasn't sure if that made it better or worse. Then, as if summoned by my thoughts, the screen lit up. Lisa, can we talk? Please. I stared at it for a long time before typing back 2 words. Me, come alone. Underscore 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 underscore. She showed up an hour later. Her eyes were red, her makeup smudged, her clothes wrinkled like she hadn't slept either. She stepped inside cautiously, like she wasn't sure she was welcome. She wasn't. Max let out a low growl. Lisa flinched. Can you put him in another room? No. She sighed, wrapping her arms around herself. I don't even know where to start. I leaned against the kitchen counter, arms crossed. Start with the truth. Her jaw tensed. I told you the truth. No, you told me what you think I want to hear. She shifted uncomfortably, avoiding my eyes. It didn't mean anything. I barked out a laugh. Didn't mean anything? You fucked him for months, Lisa. Months. While I was here, being a husband, loving you, trusting you, defending you. My voice cracked, but I pushed past it. Tell me, how exactly does that mean nothing? Lisa winced. I don't know what you want me to say. I shook my head, my fists clenching at my sides. I want you to stop lying. She hesitated, then took a slow breath. It started about 6 months ago. I felt my stomach turn. Go on. She swallowed hard. Tyler and I reconnected at a work event. We had a few drinks, started talking about old times, and I don't know. It just happened. I clenched my jaw so tight it hurt. That's bullshit. Lisa's eyes widened. What? You don't accidentally cheat, Lisa. You don't accidentally meet up, accidentally text behind my back, accidentally fuck someone else for half a year. She blinked rapidly, looking cornered. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was like. Lisa bit her lip, tears pooling in her eyes. I was lonely. A sharp, bitter laugh escaped me. Lonely? She nodded quickly, latching onto the excuse. You've been so distant lately. Always working, always tired. We barely spent time together. I took a slow, deep breath. So because I worked to support us, because I trusted you enough to not hover over you every second, that gave you permission to spread your legs for another man? Lisa flinched like I had slapped her. That's not fair. I stepped forward, my voice dangerously calm. No, Lisa. What's not fair is me finding out about your affair from my dog. What's not fair is you lying to my face for 6 months while you let another man touch you. I swallowed the lump in my throat. What's not fair is you making me feel like I was losing my mind when deep down, I knew something was wrong. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I never wanted to hurt you. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. You did hurt me, Lisa. You don't get to cry about it. She wiped at her face, sniffling. I don't know why I did it. I studied her, disgusted by how easily the lies still came. You do know. You just don't want to say it. Lisa dropped onto the couch, running a shaky hand through her hair. I love you. My chest tightened. No, you don't. She looked up, startled. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done this, I said, my voice empty. You wouldn't have risked us for some asshole who doesn't give a damn about you beyond the next orgasm. Lisa flinched again, but I didn't care. She stared at me for a long time, then finally whispered. Are we done? I swallowed hard. I don't know. Her eyes filled with hope. You don't know? I hesitated. Because the truth was, I didn't. A part of me wanted to throw her out and never look back. But another part, one I hated, still remembered the good times. The love we used to have. The 7 years we spent building a life together. Lisa reached out, her fingers trembling. Please, let's fix this. Max growled again, stepping in front of me. Lisa's expression crumbled. I looked down at my dog, the one who had sensed it all before I did. The one who had tried to warn me, who had growled at the truth before I was willing to see it. And suddenly I knew. I met Lisa's desperate gaze. I need time. She nodded quickly. Okay. Whatever you need. I'll stay at my sister's for a few days. She stood, slowly walking toward the door. Before she left, she turned back. I do love you. I didn't answer. I just watched as she walked out, taking her lies with her. When the door clicked shut, the silence returned. But this time, it didn't feel empty. Max hopped onto the couch, resting his head on my lap again. I ran a hand through his fur, letting out a long, shaky breath. For the first time in months, I wasn't confused. I knew what had to happen next. The days after Lisa left felt like standing in the eye of a storm, calm on the surface. But I could feel the chaos waiting just outside, ready to crash in the moment I let my guard down. I kept moving, kept pretending like life hadn't just split in two. Work, sleep, eat, repeat. But nothing felt real. Max stayed close, sensing the shift in the house. He followed me from room to room, never letting me sit alone for long. If I lingered too long in silence, he'd nudge my hand, as if reminding me that I wasn't the only one left. I avoided looking at Lisa's things. Her clothes still hung in the closet, her perfume still lingered in the bathroom. I knew I should pack it up, throw it all into a box, but I couldn't yet. Because doing that meant it was over. And even though I knew it was, saying it out loud still felt impossible. Then came the messages. At first, she gave me space. But after 2 days, Lisa started texting. Lisa, I miss you. Lisa, can we talk? Lisa, please, just tell me what you're thinking. I ignored them at first. Then, on the 3rd day, she called. I stared at her name flashing on my screen, my thumb hovering over decline. But against my better judgment, I answered. Silence on the other end. Then a quiet, "Hey." I exhaled slowly. "Hey." She sniffled. "I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to exist without you." I clenched my jaw. "You should have thought about that before you fucked Tyler." She let out a shaky breath. "I deserve that." I didn't respond. Her voice cracked. "I don't know why I did this." I ran a hand through my hair. "Stop saying that. You do know. I was selfish," she admitted. "I was looking for something, and I don't even know what. But I swear, it was never about not loving you." I laughed bitterly. "Love? That's not love, Lisa." She started crying. "I just want to fix this." I swallowed hard, my throat tight. "I don't think we can fix this." Silence. Then, barely above a whisper, "You're really done with me?" I hesitated. And that hesitation made me hate myself. Finally I said, "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." She broke down completely. I let her cry. Let her feel the weight of what she had done. Then I ended the call. Max watched me, ears pinned back, eyes filled with understanding. I let out a shaky breath, dropping my head into my hands. Because for the first time since this started, I wasn't just angry. I was grieving. Grief is a strange thing. It doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in, lingers in the quiet moments, sneaks up when you least expect it. I thought I had already felt the worst of it, but the real pain came in waves, each one heavier than the last. I woke up in an empty bed, reaching for Lisa out of habit before reality slammed back into me. The house felt cold. Too quiet. Her absence was everywhere, yet her presence still haunted every corner. Max nudged my arm, sensing my thoughts. "I know, buddy," I muttered, scratching behind his ears. "I need to get out of here." I threw on a jacket and grabbed my keys. I didn't know where I was going, just that I couldn't stay trapped in the house anymore. I ended up at a bar. Not our bar, not somewhere that reminded me of her. Just a random hole in the wall where no one knew my name. I sat in the corner, nursing a drink, watching people live their lives like my world hadn't just crumbled. Then my phone buzzed. "Lisa, I need to see you." I stared at the message for a long time. My gut told me not to respond. But the part of me still clinging to the past wanted closure. Wanted something. So, like an idiot, I texted back. "Me where?" 20 minutes later, I was outside her sister's apartment. Lisa opened the door cautiously, her face pale, eyes red and swollen. "Hey." I stepped inside, standing near the entrance. "What do you want, Lisa?" She wrung her hands. I needed to see you." Silence stretched between us. Then she whispered, "I made a mistake." I let out a bitter laugh. "Yeah. You did." Tears welled in her eyes. "But I still love you." I shook my head. "You don't get to say that." She stepped closer, reaching for me. "Please, let's try again. Let's fix this." For a brief second, I wanted to believe her. Wanted to pretend that we could rewind time, erase what happened. But then I saw it, the guilt in her eyes, the desperation. She didn't want me. She wanted the version of herself that hadn't ruined everything. I took a step back. "I can't." Lisa's face crumpled. "Please." I clenched my fists. "You broke us." A sob escaped her lips. "I know." I turned toward the door. And this time, I walked away without looking back. Moving on wasn't instant. It wasn't like flipping a switch or waking up one morning magically healed. Some days I felt almost normal, like the version of myself before all of this. Other days, the weight of what happened crushed me all over again. But slowly, the pain dulled. Lisa kept texting for a while, but I never responded. At first, the messages were desperate. Then, they turned into long paragraphs of guilt and regret. Eventually, they stopped coming altogether. I knew if I answered, she'd try to pull me back in with more apologies, more empty promises. And I wasn't going to let her. One evening, I packed up the last of her things. Her clothes, her stupid scented candles, the little notes she used to leave on the fridge, things that once made our house feel like a home. Now they were just reminders of everything she destroyed. I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I just loaded the boxes into my truck and drove across town to her sister's place. When I rang the doorbell, it wasn't Lisa who answered. It was Emily, her younger sister. She looked at the boxes, then up at me, her face a mix of pity and something else, understanding maybe. "She's not here," Emily said quietly. "That's fine. Just make sure she gets them." Emily hesitated. "For what it's worth, I think she knows she lost the best thing that ever happened to her." I forced a small, humorless smile. "Yeah. She did." Without another word, I turned and walked away. No final conversation. No goodbyes. Just closure. When I got home, Max was waiting by the door, tail wagging, ears perked up like he knew something had changed. "Guess it's just us now, huh?" I murmured, scratching his head. He let out a small huff, as if agreeing. I looked around the house, my house. For the first time, it didn't feel like a graveyard of broken memories. It felt like a fresh start. I took a deep breath, letting the silence settle around me. Lisa had taken enough from me. My trust. My peace. My love. But she wasn't going to take my future. So I let her go. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the story. And subscribe to our channel so you don't miss new interesting stories. See you soon.